This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I am Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, it is a busy Friday, the 13th of June. We're going to begin this half hour in the Middle East. After years of preparation and months of speculation, Israel attacked its number one enemy, Iran. It's being called an unprecedented operation. Israel attacked Iran's nuclear facilities and eliminated many nuclear scientists and Iran's senior leadership. As Chris Mitchell now reports from Jerusalem, the nation of Israel is preparing for the possibility of weeks of war and retaliation from Iran.
Called Operation Rising Lion, Israeli warplanes attacked strategic sites throughout Iran and in Tehran itself. Just after the attack began, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the nation and the world.
This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction. They've backed up their genocidal rhetoric with a program to develop nuclear weapons.
He warned Iran was on the verge of those nuclear weapons.
In recent months, Iran has taken steps that it has never taken before, steps to weaponize this enriched uranium. And if not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival.
President Trump had given Iran 2 months, 60 days to negotiate an end to its nuclear program. That deadline passed Thursday, and Israel attacked on day 61. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced the U.S. is not taking part directly in the attack. Trump posting on Truth Social, "We remain committed to a diplomatic resolution to the Iran nuclear issue," adding that Iran first must completely give up hopes of obtaining a nuclear weapon. The IDF announced its warplanes hit targets throughout Iran. Online videos out of Iran showed the aftermath of the explosions at nuclear sites like Natanz, Isfahan, and others. The IDF also announced it eliminated senior Iranian leaders, including Armed Forces Commander Mohammad Bagheri, Revolutionary Guard Commander Hussein Salami, and Air Defense Commander Ghulam Ali Rashid. The IDF and Mossad also eliminated several key nuclear scientists. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei warned that Israel would face severe punishment for the strikes, and Iran launched hundreds of drones in retaliation. But the IDF announced most of them were destroyed. Iranian-born global terrorism expert Dr. Amir Hamidi told CBN News what he's hearing from inside Iran.
Many Iranians, especially major cities like Tehran, Isfahan, Shiraz, and Mashhad, may be silent in public, but privately there is a sense of quiet relief. A growing portion of society blames the regime for dragging Iran toward war and international isolations through secrecy of nuclear ambitions.
Hamidi said many Iranians hope this could be the beginning of the end of the regime.
They're saying you are out of time, your weapons are compromised, your secrets are exposed, and your collapse has begun. The time is ticking, and see what happens. Everybody's hoping which it will be end of this nightmare and will be end of this tyranny of the Islamic Republic.
On Thursday, before Operation Rising Lion began, Prime Minister Netanyahu prayed at the Kotel and placed a note in the Western Wall. It read from Numbers chapter 23, "He shall rise like a lion and lift himself like a lioness." Netanyahu ended his message quoting Moses.
Over 3,000 years ago, Moses gave the people of Israel a message that has steeled their resolve ever since. Be strong and courageous, he said. Today, our strong and courageous soldiers and people stand together to defend ourselves against those who seek our destruction. And by defending ourselves, we defend many others, and we roll back a murderous tyranny.
We're going to continue our coverage now with Chris joining us in Israel. So, Chris, how would you describe Israel's attacks?
I think the best word, Ephraim, is epic. Incredible intelligence,
precise intelligence, and an extraordinary execution on the ground and in the air, realizing that some of these sites were 1,500 kilometers or 900 miles away from Israel. In addition to that, the Mossad reportedly had pre-positioned missiles inside Iran itself to target Iran's air defenses. Now, we listed 3 in our report of top Iranian officials. The list is probably 10 times that right now. Most of them were home and in bed. Almost the entire command of the Iranian army and the Revolutionary Guard. Israel Air Force so far has done hundreds of sorties. They've hit Natanz, which is the main enrichment facility inside Iran. And Ephraim, this is a stunning change in the region since October 7th. Hezbollah was meant to be Iran's #1 threat to Israel and its northern border. It's been defeated. Right now, it's sitting this one out. It doesn't want to get involved. Hamas is pretty much defeated. The Houthis down in Yemen are degraded. And so when Iran's nuclear program was first revealed, Israel has been preparing to do what it did today.
Chris, more on that. When exactly was Iran's nuclear program first revealed, and how long has Israel been preparing to destroy the program?
Well, it was actually 23 years ago, August of 2002. There was an opposition group that held a press conference in Washington, D.C. It's called the National Council of Resistance, and they identified 2 nuclear sites. Natanz, that I mentioned, Iraq was a heavy water production plant. The IAEA was surprised. They hadn't been notified about this. So Israel has been fighting Iran's program since then. We have reported on that throughout the years. For example, in 2010 to 12 was the Stuxnet cyber attack that actually destroyed many of the centrifuges inside Iran. They had assassinations of nuclear scientists. Then in 2015, the JCPOA nuclear deal was signed. That was abrogated by President Trump, calling it a terrible deal. Then we have 2019, where Iran is increasing enrichment. In 2020, there was a marked revelation by Mossad. They stole Iran's nuclear secrets and showed to the world that they had been lying about their nuclear program. And then in the last couple of years, they had been increasing their enrichment to near weapons grade. And here we are today, June 13, 2025, Operation Rising Lion. This is a historic day, Ephraim, not only here in the history of Israel, but the entire region, even the entire world.
How serious of a threat is this to the regime, and what are you hearing from inside Iran?
Well, there's 2 questions that are related, Ephraim, because it's a serious threat, because what we're hearing from Iran, we talked earlier today to Chuck Colton. He's actually there on the Armenian-Iranian border. He's hearing comments from inside Iran that people are excited, they're happy, they're glad that's what's happening. They feel like this could be, some people believe it could be the beginning of the end of the regime. Some of the comments on X, I'll read some of them. If you're happy about the destruction of the 4-headed demon of the Revolutionary Guard, trend the hashtag. Others of saying, thanks for removing all evil. Thank you, Prime Minister. This is coming from Iranians. One said, not the hero we deserve, but the hero we need. And some people are calling on Reza Pahlavi. He's the son of the late Shah. And one hashtag said, the Shah will believe it, the time will come. And maybe this is shades of what's coming, Ephraim, and perhaps the demise of the Islamic Republic.
All right, real quick before we let you go, what do you have for us this evening on Jerusalem Dateline? It's been a busy week.
Ephraim, our planned show is out the window. We're covering the whole attack on this show. We have an update story. We have Chuck Colton, as I mentioned, from the Iranian border. Analysis from JNS News Syndicate, Alex Trayman. We have more from Dr. Amir Hamidi, who was in our story. And we also have analysis, Julie Stahl, John Waggy here in our bureau. We talk about some of the scriptures that are applicable, and we'll be praying.
All right, thanks a lot. Our CBN News Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell, we appreciate your insight. Looking forward to Jerusalem Dateline and seeing you in the days ahead as we continue to follow this story. Stay with us. We've got a look at other news headlines right after this. Welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. Protests over President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration could step up even more this weekend as the president gets a victory for now in the legal battle over his use of the National Guard in California. CBN's Brody Carter is on this story.
Tensions in Los Angeles have remained high since protests started after the raids began June 6. Now, major protests in 21 states and 37 cities have seen hundreds of arrests.
We are not going away. We are staying here to liberate this city.
Inside a West Los Angeles federal building, another kind of clash at a Homeland Security press conference.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary.
After California Democratic Senator Alex Padilla demanded to speak with Secretary Kristi Noem, he was forcibly escorted out. Agents tackled him to the ground and handcuffed him in the hallway. Officials said Padilla was not wearing a security pin and didn't identify himself.
You know what? I don't even know the senator. He did not request a meeting with me or to speak with me.
And on Capitol Hill.
Well, some interesting theatrics today.
Lawmakers on both sides clashing as Democratic governors testified Thursday about their sanctuary policies for illegal immigrants and the president's moves to deport them.
Because if we just roll this clock on the wall back 75 years, we'd be looking at a time in Nazi Germany where people ran around with signs like this new ICE sign that says, "Report all foreign invaders to ICE."
You are not advocating on behalf of these victims. You are shielding illegals. Even in your opening statement, you prioritize putting illegals first.
Now a legal back and forth is underway after a federal judge last night ruled the deployment of National Guardsmen to California was illegal and violates the 10th Amendment. A federal appeals court put that ruling on hold, so for now, the National Guard will stay under federal control in California. The appeals court has scheduled a hearing for next Tuesday to review the ruling on President Trump's National Guard deployment in California. Brody Carter, CBN News.
As troops take their position in Los Angeles, they're also taking center stage in Washington. President Trump has long wanted a patriotic military parade, and Saturday he will get his wish. The commander-in-chief is set to join thousands in the nation's capital to celebrate the Army's 250th anniversary. CBN News senior White House correspondent Kelly Wright has a look at the preparations for the parade.
As America's oldest military organization, the Army turns 250 this year. Tanks and other Army equipment have arrived in the nation's capital by train to take part in the celebration. The military parade will feature hundreds of military vehicles and aircraft, along with thousands of marching soldiers going by the Lincoln Memorial and down Constitution Avenue.
We're celebrating the Army on Flag Day, and it's not my birthday. It is my birthday, but I'm not celebrating my birthday. I'm celebrating Flag Day. It happens to be the same day, so I take a little heat, but Flag Day is the appropriate date, and we're celebrating 250 years of the Army, a great service. And remember, you know, think of it, we won so much. We won World War I, World War II, so much else, and then we became politically correct.
Designated a national special security event, fencing has been placed along the perimeter of the White House as the Secret Service, FBI, and D.C. Police work together to ensure the safety of those attending.
On the ground, we're taking proactive steps to reinforce the area. You will see 18.5 miles of anti-scale fencing, 17 miles of bike rack, concrete barriers, 175 magnetometers, and officers from federal, state, and local agencies standing post. You may also notice multiple drones operating in the area. These are great tools for law enforcement situational awareness and part of our layered security strategy. Rest assured, all drones will be owned and operated by the Secret Service or our partners, so please do not be alarmed.
Throughout the day, the event will include concerts, fitness competitions, and military equipment displays on the National Mall, followed by a concert and fireworks.
Overall, this is like a big recruiting event, telling the story of the U.S. Army and its rich history, its rich heritage that's existed for 250 years.
While cost estimates for the event run between $25 to $40 million, officials believe the value of showcasing this military history and patriotism will be worth the investment. Kelly Wright, CBN News.
Still ahead, we're sitting down with Senator James Lankford. He's talking about his faith and his approach with tackling tough policy. Stay with us. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. Senator James Lankford is a rising leader who makes clear that faith is his guide, especially when tackling tough policies like immigration and the national debt. After serving more than a decade in Congress, the ordained minister sat down with CBN News Capitol Hill correspondent Michelle London to talk about his new book and explain why now is the critical time for Americans to do their part.
Whether on Capitol Hill or among his constituents, Senator Lankford displays a genuine passion for serving others. He spent years pastoring youth and representing communities throughout his home state of Oklahoma. In his new book, Turn Around America's Revival, Lankford emphasizes that the sooner we discover our purpose, the greater our impact will be.
Biblical leadership, as simple as it is seeing the problem that God puts on your heart and doing something about it.
Senator Lankford sees his debut book as a practical guide for Christians to boldly live their faith as leaders, even in hard times.
It's intended for us as people of faith to be able to slow down and go, okay, what is it? How do I understand how the scripture applies to me? What is it that I can actually do to have the greatest impact?
Lankford invites readers to see how transforming a nation requires more than just casting a vote. Each chapter offers practical insights on leading by example in our everyday lives. In it, he lays out how to maintain unwavering faith while navigating a divided political climate, what Scripture teaches us about engaging with government and authority. It also emphasizes how courage, kindness, and consistency can effectively influence and reshape our environment.
So I try to lay out what can you do in your school board, your communities, city councils, what can you do for mentoring the kid down the street that just needs some help in that family. There's a lot of ways we can be engaged in our country, but the first thing is to acknowledge there's a problem.
Senator, why were you inspired to release Turnaround during such a critical time?
Well, I would say for me, I have to be confident this is God's timing, because this has been a 3-year journey to be able to write it and to be able to prepare it and to be able to lay it out there. It is also a moment to be able to challenge people, to be able to say, don't expect that there was an election maybe you liked and say, okay, everything's going to get fixed now.
Turnaround is already receiving praise in Washington. Former Secretary of State, CIA Director, and Kansas Congressman Mike Pompeo describes it as a powerful challenge to pay closer attention to who we are rather than what we do.
There's a big difference between a career and a calling. Career is what we do to get paid. A calling is what we were made for. And people are missing that. And so I wanted to be able to challenge people to say, oh, let's reconsider again as Americans who we are. My hope is people would have a pen in their hand as they go through, and that they would hear God's call in their own life to be able to know what their mission is as well in the days ahead.
Michelle London, CBN News, Washington.
Coming up, see how one cycling group is helping to fight child trafficking. Stay with us. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. Welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. It is one of the world's toughest endurance challenges. In the 3,000-mile race across America, cyclists race coast to coast across 3 mountain ranges for a cause. Brody Carter reports one team's riding to rescue children trapped in human trafficking.
The race across America is one of the most grueling athletic challenges in the world. A nonstop transcontinental relay race stretching from Oceanside, California to Atlantic City, New Jersey. Each team can choose a cause to support and then raise money through sponsors, donors, and individual donations. Zoe International's choice is racing to fight child trafficking and bring hope to vulnerable children.
Most people think human trafficking is a developing nation thing, and it's here in the United States as well. So we just wanted to create an awareness project for this.
Founded in 2002, Zoe International operates in 5 countries, including the U.S., focused on preventing child trafficking, rescuing victims, and supporting long-term healing.
That's your relief coming, buddy. That's your relief coming.
Team Zoe's cycling effort began in 2018 as a small initiative to support the larger organization. Led by former detective Brad Ortenzi and his wife, both missionaries with Zoe International, the team has raced coast to coast 3 times, raising $500,000 in 2023 alone. Their mission: rescue, restore, and raise awareness.
The guys from their wrist to their elbow write the name of this girl on their elbow, and that's because in that cycling position. That name is still within your eyesight. And many times you just put your head down and you see that name, and that brings you back to the why.
8 cyclists and an extended support crew are pushing across 12 states to raise money and awareness for children trapped in human trafficking. Among them is Detective Kevin Quinter.
It's not traditionally what you think. It's not someone being kidnapped in a white van and being held chained to a room. It's not. It's very in depth of how psychologically they break people down with trauma.
Quinter spent years conducting undercover operations targeting child predators. He says his faith and the mission is what keeps him riding.
We get to ride across a beautiful country and see amazing sights and get to raise awareness and rescue kids, hopefully based on our funds. That's pretty lucky to do that, but it's not about us. And I think that's what's so cool about this group of people, selfless people that I've came in contact with.
Zoe's team, including professionals, missionaries, and businessmen like Pennsylvania Bank President Tom Jordan.
There's a spiritual side to this that, Satan is working against us. He's cheering against us. He's trying to put obstacles up. So there's an emotional and spiritual side that, I don't know if it does create some adversity or just challenge, because you're weakening your mind when you're deprived of sleep, or you're deprived or not deprived physically, but physically exhausted.
Zoe International, 6 days, 2 hours, 21 minutes. Great job.
This will be the team's 4th year pushing through desert sandstorms and beautiful mountain terrain while pulling sleepless nights, pursuing transformation over a trophy, riding for children they may never meet, but whose lives could be changed forever.
No matter what situation we're in, whether we're believers or those that don't know Jesus yet, or these kids or women that are entrapped in human trafficking, that there is a Savior that would do anything to rescue them and then to love on them.
Brody Carter, CBN News.
I want to leave you with this thought today. Don't let outside forces determine your mood. You are not called to match energy. You're called to set the standard. You are a thermostat and not a thermometer. Well, that will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel. You can find them there anytime, as well as online, cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Happy Father's Day, dads. We'll see you back here come Monday.